Good evening, DeKalb County School District stakeholders. My name is Zach Phillips, Executive Director of Early Learning and Pre-K Programs. It gives me great pride to welcome you to our virtual parent application and lottery informational session. Before I introduce my colleagues who will be assisting me with the presentation, I would be remiss if I did not yield the floor to my boss, Chief of the Division of Student Services, Dr. Sauce, to bring you greetings within our virtual space.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction, Dr. Phillips. I appreciate that. And if folks can see me on the screen, you can see I'm driving, but I'm not driving. I assure you I'm not steering. I'm in the back seat of a vehicle, not driving. But I appreciate you giving me an opportunity, Dr. Phillips, to say hello. Definitely want to thank all of our parents and guardians who are joining us this evening to learn about the process and offerings for our pre-K programming for next year. Y'all may or may not be aware, but we're very proud of the fact that in the DeKalb County School District, we are the largest provider of pre-K in the state of Georgia. And that includes our pre-K 4 offerings and our pre-K 3 offerings. So there is not a school district in the state of Georgia offering free of charge more pre-K 4 and pre-K 3 offerings than we are. And we're so proud of that. And that is all the fruits of the efforts of our mighty pre-K and early learning team, who are all represented on the call this evening. And we appreciate your willingness to give us your time and your partnership this evening to learn about our pre-K offerings and to entrust us with your youngest scholars next year and beyond as you soon apply for our pre-K lottery, which the date opens soon. So without further ado, certainly want to thank you, Dr. Phillips, and our pre-K team, Ms. Rhodes, Ms. Nelson, Dr. Lindstrom, and our communications in our English Learners Department for assisting us with all the logistics to facilitate this really important discussion tonight. So thank you so much, and I'll just be a participant and observer the rest of the way, a quiet, passive observer the rest of the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sauce. My other colleagues who will be presenting tonight are Ms. Nelson, our pre-K data technician, Ms. Rose, our early childhood coordinator, Dr. Lindstrom, our early childhood coordinator, and Ms. Irving, our registration manager within the Office of Student Assignment. The agenda for tonight calls for us to discuss our pre-K 3 specialized programs and expansion sites, our pre-K 3 and 4 program matriculation, which is a new program enhancement, our annual enrollment verification, the DeKalb County School District's pre-K 3 and 4 application window and lottery, our School Mint lottery platform, as well as our Q&A. Our pre-K 3 classes currently exist at Corwood Center, the Early Learner Center, and the pre-K 3 expansion sites of Austin Elementary, Briar Vista Elementary, Indian Creek, John Lewis, Margaret Theme School, Peachcrest Elementary, Princeton Elementary, Rainbow, Rockbridge, and Smoke Rise. Please note that Corwood Center and the Early Learning Center are specialized programs that serve both pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 students. So any stakeholder within the DeKalb County School District can apply for a seat at these specialized programs, in addition to the expansion sites that are based off of cluster schools. When it comes to the pre-K 3 program matriculation, this is a new program enhancement that we're launching this year. Parents have the option of completing an intent to return form as well as a confirmation log if your child currently is receiving instruction at one of our pre-K 3 expansion sites for the upcoming school year to ensure that they transition to the pre-K 4 program at that designated school. Parents who choose to opt out or don't complete the necessary steps won't have a guaranteed seat for the upcoming year at those designated sites and will have to apply for a pre-K seat at a zone home school. The deadline to complete these necessary steps are this Friday, February the 28th. When it comes to the annual enrollment verification process, please note that all seats that are awarded through the lottery process must be awarded to a district stakeholder. The annual enrollment verification continues to ensure that everyone that's applying for a seat, again, is a DeKalb County resident. Please note that the application window will launch on March the 3rd at 12 o'clock midnight and close on March 21st at 11:59 p.m. The lottery seats will be awarded the following Friday on March 28th. The first portion of the School Mint platform will be facilitated by Ms. Nelson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ms. Nelson. I am the pre-K technician, and I will be covering our landing page this evening, part of our application. So at the top right corner, our application will be able to be translated into multiple languages. So if parents need to translate the application into a different language, it can be done using Google Translate at the top right. Midway the page, you'll see the age eligibility for pre-K 3 and pre-K. If your child does not fall within these birth date ranges, unfortunately, they wouldn't be eligible to participate in the lottery. Also, too, we have a request help link within the application. So if you start completing the application and for whatever reason you need assistance, you can come back here to complete the request help link. This link is also located on the family dashboard. Parents will have to create an account. You can log in using your Facebook account or your Google account. Once you click log in, you'll then come to your family dashboard tab to where you'll click the button to add a student. You proceed with yep. So once you add the student information tab will come up. On this particular page, you'll start entering your student information. That's the first name, last name, birth date, and the grade that you're applying for. Please note that the birthday must fall within that window. If it does not, you will receive an error message that states that the birthday is outside of the birthday range for that particular grade level. When it comes to the student address, home address, it's the home address where the student resides full-time. Once you start to enter the number and the first 3 characters of the street name, it will automatically populate for you. So once your address is entered in, you'll click Save and Continue. After you click Save and Continue, the application box will come up for you to actually start the application. Once you click Start, there's a requirements and policy box that will populate. You must agree to those terms in order to proceed with the application. So you'll click I agree and continue. Once you click continue, the student information tab will populate again. And at this particular screen, you will enter the student's gender, if the student's part of a multiple birth. If the student is part of a multiple birth, you will have to enter a separate application for the other students. It's going to ask your race. And then also within the pre-K 4 application, there is a question that states, did your child or did this student participate in the DeKalb County School District pre-K 3 program? If your student is currently enrolled in a pre-K 3 program within DeKalb County School District, you would select yes. Once you select yes, there will be a drop down for you to select the school that that child is currently enrolled. Then we also have questions that ask, does your child have an IEP? Is your child a part of a Montessori program? Is your student part of Babies Can't Wait? And then also if your student has been in contact with our diagnostic center. So at this moment, I will pass it along to my wonderful colleague, Ms. Rose, who will then go through the rest of the application. You're muted, Ms. Rhodes.
Apologies. I'm going to be doing the guardian information part of the platform. So once you finish the student application part, when you come to the guardian part, if you're a parent or a guardian, you fill out all of the information that they're requesting for you to fill out. You'll actually have to identify what your role is. Are you a mother? Are you the grandparent? The uncle, whatever the situation is, they actually ask you to identify it. And if you forget, don't worry about it. It won't let you go forward until you finish it. You'll also need to put in your email and your phone number. What's really important is please make sure when you're completing your email that you don't skip a letter. One letter off or missing something, and the emails won't go to you. And that's really vital because when the lottery is concluded, we send information out via email, whether or not you got a spot or not. And we want to make sure you're getting the information. You also have the option to add another guardian. That's not mandatory. You can add it if you'd like to. And if we go on next, we're going to cover the employee information. So with the DCSD employee information, that is whether you work anywhere in DeKalb County. You do not have to be a school teacher. You could work at the district office. You could work at Sam Moss. We simply ask, are you an employee? And if you are, it will have a drop-down box for where you are to say where you're assigned. And those are really the only things that we ask as far as the employees with this part of the application, because we do need to verify if you are an employee that you actually are based on where you work. Thank you. Let's go to the next one, the school selection. So what will happen, regardless if you're an employee or not, anyone who is eligible to apply for the lottery, you will see during this application process, the schools that will populate. So you will always see two schools, which is the Early Learning Center as well as Coralwood. Additional schools that you will see are the school that you're zoned for because that's where you live, or if your school feeds into a theme school, such as Chapel Hill Elementary feeds into Narvi J. Harris as a theme school, you will see both of those options. Regardless of how many options you see, it's already generated based on your address. You can only choose one. So as you see here, the box for Redan Elementary is chosen. You click the box and then you hit save and continue. So the next part are the uploads. This is really important. In order to be considered eligible to participate in the lottery, you have to prove the birth. So you need to upload the birth certificate or proof of birth. It does not have to be the original copy in the upload. It can be a picture. It can be a scan. You will have to present the original copy if you get a spot, once you get into the school. But for now, you can see right under here where it says choose file. It could be a JPEG. It could be a GIF, whatever it is. You need to upload the proof of birth. And then the proof of legal guardianship only if it's applicable. If on the birth certificate, this is your child, it shows you as the parent, you're fine. If it's a situation where it's a court case, we have a foster care situation, or a parent or relative taking care of the child for whatever reason, that is the only time you have to upload the parent legal guard, the part for the legal guardian. Then we need the parent or the guardian proof of identification. If you're the one who's registering this child based on your address and you have provided that proof, we need that identification. A picture of your driver's license or state card is acceptable. And then our proof of Georgia residency. We need your electric bill, your gas bill, your water bill, your rent or your lease or your mortgage. We do not accept cell phone bills or bills like that. We need, and let it be a current bill. Please do not submit a bill from 4 months ago because it needs to show that you are currently residing in that area. Okay, moving forward. So once you finish with your uploads, there are going to be a section with the parent guardian agreements that will ask you multiple questions to sign off on and multiple statements. This one right here is saying that you understand that your child has to be to school every day for the full instructional day. We have intense learning, but it's still fun. And your student or your child is expected to be there every day when school starts, including at the end. Specifically in here, it talks about, based on the grant guidelines, that if you show a pattern of students being taken out early every Friday or coming in late every day, that's considered an attendance problem. And we need you to be aware that you are signing off saying you understand you need to be there when school starts and pick your child up after school's over. And then on the next slide, there are 2 other agreements. Now, mind you, there'll be more than 3 agreements, but we brought out these 2 because these are the ones that we have the most questions about. The one is stating to your left that your child currently has self-care skills to dress themselves, undress themselves, go and take care of their toileting needs. That's for pre-K 3 and pre-K 4. So please make sure when you're signing off on that, that's really the case. The attendance plan to the right, please note that if your student is out for any length of time or tardy for consecutive days, we need a note. If you are out for 10 consecutive days, you are in jeopardy of forfeiting your seat by day 11. All right, at this time, I'm going to pass it off to Dr. Phillips.
The last 2 remaining pages that are embedded within the actual presentation that is aligned to our SchoolMint platform highlights parent signatures. Please know on this page, you will have to verify that the information is correct and also acknowledge that completion of your application does not guarantee a seat in the lottery. Please note that if awarded a seat, you will have 14 days to go back into your account within SchoolMint to accept or decline your seat. All this information will be embedded within your award letter that you receive once those seats are awarded on the 28th. Also, please note that your child must be present the first day of school or they will forfeit their seat after 10 o'clock a.m. On the next page, the review and submit application. This is an opportunity for all stakeholders to review their entire application before you submit the application for review at that designated school. The registers at those schools will go in to vet your application to determine if you are missing the appropriate documents or if your application is approved to be submitted to the portal prior to the lottery actually running. Also, after you submit your application, you will have 2 views. You will either have the view of your application being submitted, or you will also have the view of the lottery application is in process. So based on what that view looks like and based on the individual situation for you as a parent, you will know if your application has been submitted for review and verification at the school level by the school registers, or you still have some missing documents that you must complete prior to submitting your application for final vetting and approval. The next voice you will hear will be Ms. Irving, our registration manager within the Office of Student Assignment.
Good evening, everyone. I am Petra Irvin. I am the registration manager for DeKalb County School District, and I will walk you through the next portion of this presentation. Okay. So a few things to know about getting started with registration. Next slide. If your student is, or if you already have a family member currently enrolled in DeKalb County School District, you can complete the annual verification application in the parent portal. So, next slide. If you have the parent portal account, that's great. If not, you can always go to the district's website and follow this link here, and it will take you right there, and you will be able to create an account. So once you get here, if you have forgotten your password, you'll be able to click the bottom where it says forgot password or forgot username, and you will be able to get those things resent to you. There's also a QR code in the bottom, so if you would like to scan, you could do that. If you have students that are new to DeKalb County, you're going to go ahead and go to the district's webpage, which is at the very top of the DCSD registration or the DCSD website. You'll be able to click on registration, and you will be able to complete your new student registration application there. You can follow the link that you see here, or you can scan the QR code. Next slide. Before you get started with your registration application, there are a few documents here, and I know I have listed here all of the documents, but I think the document requirement is a little bit different for pre-K and P3. So if you all want to chime in just to tell them exactly what they need to get started. I don't want to tell them everything, so you tell them what they need.
Yes, so for pre-K 3 and pre-K, when it comes to registration, you will need everything listed here except for the student records. Parents will have to upload their award letter into OLR when you complete your registration. So you don't need the student records, but you will need your award letter to upload into OLR.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now, once they select the grade level, they will see that they will need to upload the document that you said, along with the, is there a wait list as well document, or in the BFTS registration?
So it's not the wait list, but there are two additional documents. That's the Bright from the Start registration form and the Bright from the Start roster information form.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so they will see that once they select P3 or pre-K, those additional options will show up in the application.
So one
Okay.
thing, I'm sorry, one thing, Ms. Peacher. So for pre-K 3, you guys wouldn't need to upload those information. So for pre-K 3, you would just need to upload your award letter. For pre-K 4, because it is a Bright from the Start program, you would need the roster information form and the registration information form. I just wanted to make that clear. So if you're doing a
Excellent.
registration for pre-K 3, you do not need the Bright from the Start documents.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Erica. Okay, we can move forward. So we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so again, if you are accessing the new student registration application from the district's website, once you get there, you're going to click on the blue button in the middle of the screen to begin the application. If you are accessing the new student registration application from the parent portal, once you get there, you're going to log into the parent portal using your username and password. Please understand that the recommended browsers for the parent portal are, or for Infinite Campus, are Google Chrome and Firefox Mozilla. Once you're logged in via the parent portal, you're going to click on the three lines in the top left corner. Then you're going to click on More at the bottom. Then you're going to click on Annual Verification to continue. And once you're there, you are going to select the appropriate year and then click on Start to begin the new student registration process. Once you are in the application, or once you're beginning the application, you're going to click where it says Begin the Registration. Once here, you'll be able to select your language, which is up at the top. You'll enter your name, and then you will click on Submit. When you're completing the application, there are a few things that you should be aware of. First, all of the required fields are marked with a red asterisk, so you have to complete those things in order to move forward in the application. Once you begin a tab in the application, you must enter all of the required fields in that tab before saving. Otherwise, you may lose your information. Each tab must be completed before moving to the next tab. After the required fields for a tab have been completed, you can move freely between the tabs, but you can't move forward unless you have saved and completed the tab that you're working on. So be sure to press the Save and Continue button after the completion of each tab. You can move forward and backwards throughout the tabs using the next and previous buttons. Okie doke. So while you're in the application, there are going to be a few areas where you're going to upload your documents. To upload the documents, you're going to click on the appropriate button. So you have to be able to upload your utility bill. Again, that's proof of residency. And so you have already done that when you did the lottery. But again, like Ms. Rhodes said, you want to make sure that the document that you use, whether it's your lease, your utility bill, is current within 30 days, right? If it is older than that, it won't be accepted. So please try to make sure that you upload a current document there. Okay, and then once you upload it, you can drag and drop it, or you can click on the actual button and upload it that way, and then you'll hit Save and Continue. Once there, you're going to go through the application. Another place that you need to be aware of are the release agreements. When you'll actually sign your release agreements using the click here to sign button. And then once you have completed that, then you are going to hit Save and Continue. Now, those release agreements are, for the technology as well as the media release. And so all of that stuff is there. You'll be able to click on any of the hyperlinks in the application to read all of the things that it pertains to before you are able to move forward in the application, just so that you have that information. Okie doke. And then once you are have completed all of your application, you're going to click where it says sign here. You're going to do that, and then you are going to click the submit button. That is going to finalize your application. Once you click the submit, you'll get this lovely summary page right here that tells you that you're done. So as you're going through the application, anytime that the status changes for your application, you will get a notification from Infinite Campus telling you, first, when you do this, your application has been submitted. Please note that submitted doesn't mean that it's approved or processed. It just means that it was submitted successfully. Once your application is processed, then you will get another notification from Infinite Campus. So be sure to check your spam and things like that to ensure that you are getting those notifications. If your application is missing something, you will get a notification back from Infinite Campus, and in there you should see what documents are missing, or be able to reach out to the school to ask any questions that you may have. Okay. And that's it. Registration.
Okay, so we reached the portion of the actual meeting where we will be responding to some questions in the chat. Please note that at the conclusion of the meeting, within the next 24 to 48 hours, you all will receive a copy of the presentation as well as the recording. Any questions that we don't get to as a department, we will respond to as a team and email that out as well to every participant that pre-registered for the actual meeting. I do want to respond to a couple of questions that I wrote down while the presentation was going on. It's related to our current pre-K3 students. Parent asks, if I completed the intent to return form and the completion log, do I still need to complete an application? Yes, you will still complete an application because you're going through the annual verification process. And that application still must be approved at the school level prior to the lottery running for that designated school. Next question that I came across is, For pre-K based programs, is it aligned to my home address? Yes, all schools, once you type into the application your home address, that school designated for that particular address will populate along with, as Ms. Rose stated, Corwood and the Early Learning Center, in addition to if you fall within a feeder pattern for a theme school. How can we find the locations for the pre-K 3 sites? Please note that we are working with our IT department to add some additional enhancements to our landing page. My hope is that prior to the end of the week, you will have a list of all of our schools that currently have pre-K 4 classes, as well as our pre-K 3 expansion sites with the designated clusters. For a parent who asks, can you please repeat the actual schools that have pre-K 3 expansion classes? Those schools are Austin Elementary, Briar Lake, Indian Creek, Margaret, John Lewis, Peachcrest, Princeton, Rainbow, Rockbridge, and Smoke Rise. As relates to a question that asked me, can you please explain the cluster process? For example, Austin Elementary has one P3 class. All of our P3 expansion sites are set up on clusters. So if you fall within the Austin cluster, your home address is zone 4, Chestnut Elementary, Hightower, Kinsley, Vanderlyn, Montgomery, Huntley Hills, and Dunwoody Elementary. So if you fall within that particular school zone, you can apply for a pre-K 3 seat at Austin Elementary School. So each pre-K 3 expansion site have certain schools that fall up under the cluster. Outside of the Early Learning Center has a cluster, but the Early Learning Center is a specialized program. So anybody in the school district can apply for the Early Learning Center as well as Corwood Center. Transitional days. When it comes to the time for our pre-K 3 students, if your student is awarded a seat in our pre-K 3 sites, please note that the first 2 weeks are transitional weeks. Students will normally come to school from 7 until 11 o'clock a.m. for the first 2 weeks. And on the third week of school, they transition to a full day where they come to school from 7 until 2 o'clock p.m. Next question I'm going to come across, and Ms. Rose and Ms. Nelson, if you want to answer it, I know you know the response, but if not, I could continue to answer.
So I'm sorry, Doc. So one
Go
of
ahead.
the question asks about the URL for the application. So right now the URL will not be posted. You can go to our district website and click the Apply Now button on March 3rd.
Ms. Rose, do you see a question that you want to respond to? Just make sure I'm not doubling back answering a question that you all have already answered in the chat.
Sir, a lot of the questions in the chat are actually repetitive questions that you've actually addressed. Well, there is one.
So oh, go ahead, Ms. Rose, I'm sorry.
Where can we get information on the time of day the program is offered? So with DeKalb County School District, with our pre-K 3 and pre-K 4, you have to actually contact the school because of the way the bus tiered system is in DeKalb. Your school for pre-K 4 may start at 7:15 and end at 2, or may start at 7:30. Please contact the school. It's every day. Any day that the K-5 students or K-12 students are in school, we are in the same program as far as that, with the days for attendance, but the times are specific to the schools. Thank you.
Ms. Nelson, I know you answered this, so I'm gonna ask the question again just so you can respond. It's stated, will employees be able to choose the school that they work in as a location option for their student?
Employee, middle school, high school, elementary?
It didn't.
Okay, so it depends. So if you are, and this is a pre-K 3 or pre-K?
They didn't specify either.
Okay. So if you're an employee of an elementary school, and I'm speaking on pre-K 3. So if you are an employee at one of the expansion sites for pre-K 3, you'll be able to apply to that expansion site in which you work for pre-K 3. If you are pre-K, applying for pre-K 4 and you are an employee at an elementary school, you would be able to apply to that particular school in which you work. If you are a middle school, high school employee, there are vertical feeder patterns that we have with the district. So for instance, Lithonia High School, right? So if you are employed at Lithonia High School, Lithonia Middle School, specific schools will populate for you based on where you work. For pre-K 3, because not all of our elementary schools offer pre-K 3, it would be based on that cluster. So if your employment is Lithonia High School, the elementary schools are Allgood, Shadow Rock, Rockbridge. Because they don't offer a pre-K 3, you'll have the option of whatever school feeds into that particular school.
Next question that I came across currently impacts a current pre-K 3 student. Please note that if you complete the intent to return form in the confirmation log, you can't go into the actual lottery platform or the application and apply for your home school. It's one or the other. So if you choose to opt out of the intent to return, then of course you can apply for your home school, but your seat is not guaranteed. If you currently have a pre-K student at Corewood, the Early Learning Center, or any expansion site, and you complete the intent to return, it's the expectation of the district that you will be returning to that school for the pre-K 3 experience. And once you complete your application, as Ms. Erica noted in her presentation, you're going to choose, yes, my child currently attends a pre-K 3 site. You'll select the drop-down school. You'll select the school within the drop-down option. And then once the application is processed, and it'll be flagged on our end. So we will go in to verify if your child is actually at that school based on our rosters that we have for each designated school to verify that you have completed the necessary steps for your child to remain at the school.
One other question asks, is it okay to apply for both pre-K lottery for both public and private? The answer is yes. You can apply to both public pre-K and private pre-K.
I'm still going through the questions. So they stated, for a proof of residency, is there an option to sign some kind of affidavit and provide additional documentation? Miss I don't know, Miss or Miss Rose, do you all know that response to that question? Because I know it's something has changed, but we can look it up and just include it on our FAQ.
So for the registration, they do have the ability to complete an affidavit to prove their residency. I'm not sure how that goes for your lottery, but for the actual registration, they can opt to complete a affidavit, a residential affidavit, that it will be accompanied by supporting documentation. All of that is listed on the DCSD online registration website.
Okay, thank you.
And then also parents are able to complete an affidavit within the application as well. You'll just have to upload a piece of mail that comes to that address in your name.
Across the question, if my child turns 3 on September the 1st, can I still do the application and he be placed on the wait list? Unfortunately, for a child turning 3 or 4, they have to be 3 or 4 by September the 1st of the actual academic school year. So anybody that falls outside of the designated dates cannot apply for a seat or be placed on the wait list.
There are a lot of questions about the February 28th deadline. So the February 28th deadline is for those parents who are who currently have a student enrolled in pre-K 3. That's the intent to return form that must be completed by that date. If you have not done that yet, you may want to contact the administration at that particular school.
As it relates to the question of the 3300 and the 3231 form, please note that those documents won't be uploaded until you build your application within OLR or the parent portal after you accept your seat within the school method. platform. All of that information will be embedded within your award letter that you receive if you receive a seat.
So there's a question in here that says, is it necessary to fill out the Georgia Pre-K waitlist information form? If there's no information on the site where to send the application. So if you complete an application within the SchoolMint portal, you will not need to complete a waitlist application. You will automatically be placed on a waitlist if your child was not awarded a seat. The waitlist application is only for those parents who did not complete an application through the portal.
Yeah, I came across two questions. May you repeat the time the application opens on March 3rd? The application will open up at 12 o'clock midnight on March 3rd and close on March 21st at 11:59 p.m. Do they have buses? So currently, only 4-year-old students, pre-K 4 students can ride buses. Pre-K 3 students cannot ride buses within the DeKalb County School District. Do the pre-K programs issue grades? Currently, we use the WSO platform to assess our pre-K 4 students, in addition to informal assessments that may occur within the classroom setting for pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 in regards to running records. Does the school offer tours for their pre-K programs? That's a question that you would need to follow up with the designated school and the building level administrators to see if they offer tours and how much unstructured time is required within pre-K 4 during a class day. The day is scheduled based on mandatory times within the Bright from the Start grant. The day actually does encompass a 20-minute recess time in addition to free choice centers and some other activities that are embedded within the whole group and small group instructional activities. Ms. Rose, Dr. Lindstrom, or Ms. Nels, is there any other questions in the chat that you feel as though we need to answer now that we haven't already answered prior to us adjourning the meeting?
It was already addressed about the URL, right? That's coming. Okay, I just want to make sure. There are a lot of questions.
Do we have to wait to apply, or can we apply at the school, or we have to apply online? All applications must be submitted online once the lottery window opens up, which will be on March 3rd. So the question came across, and I may be Miss Irvin. I want to say yes, but so if I have an existing DeKalb County student, I should log into, oh Lord, it just jumped back up. I should log into my parent portal account to build an application as opposed to starting a new application.
If you have a student already in the district and after you've been awarded your seat, you can register your student using the new student registration application via the parent portal. So yes, you can log into the parent portal and complete a new student registration application if you already have a parent portal account and once your seat has been, once you have received your seat.
So when it comes to how many seats will we actually have at the pre-K 3 sites, all pre-K 3 expansion sites, are allotted 15 seats per class. The Early Learning Center currently has 11 classes, and Corewood currently has 4 co-taught classes. Sorry, guys.
Can you go over one more time about pre-K 3? There are multiple questions. They're not under standing or seeking clarification that if their pre-K 3 child is currently attending, that in order for them to even be eligible for the lottery, they have to do the intent form. And that's not what we're saying, correct?
No, everybody has to complete an application in regards to the application one. If you choose to remain at the site or go back to your home school, you still have to be awarded a seat via the lottery. What we're trying to do in regards to program matriculation is to ensure that we don't disrupt the learning experience of our current pre-K3 students who are currently experiencing instruction at one of our expansion sites, Corewood Center, or the Early Learning Center. So by completing the intent to return link as well as the confirmation log, you're telling us as a district that you want your child to remain at their current school for pre-K. If you opt out, please note that your seat will not be guaranteed at your home school, and you're telling us you want to take your chances to be awarded a seat via the lottery at your home school. But no matter if you're returning back to your current school because you currently have a pre-K3 student or you are a new student enrolling in pre-K 3 or 4, you have to complete the application to be approved for the upcoming lottery, and all seats will be awarded via the lottery, regardless if you're returning or you're a new student to the DeKalb County School District.
Okay, so there's a question that says, so 2 applications have to be completed, one for the lottery and one for registering the student. If yes, do both applications open on March 3rd? No. So you're only completing one application. On March 28th, our award information will go out on if your child was awarded a seat or if your child was placed on the wait list. At that point, if your child was awarded a seat, you would complete registration. So you only do one application. After March 28th, when the lottery results are released, if your child was awarded a seat, you'll complete registration.
So, Ms. Rose, I know you answered this, so I'm gonna pivot to you for this one, and then I'm gonna come back to Dr. Lindstrom on something. It says, can I apply for several schools within my application?
No, when you are filling out your application, you will see several schools listed to include Coralwood and ELC. And you'll also see your home school, plus the potential of seeing a theme school or feeder school based on your address. But you can only choose one school. And once you make that choice, that is what goes into the lottery based on your documents.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. Dr. Lindstrom, this question reads, do I have to wait on the immunization 3231 before I can apply for a seat within the actual application one?
So good evening to everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Give me a
ma'am.
thumbs up. Yeah, okay, thank you. No, so to do the pre-K lottery application, you do not need your 3,200 or your 3,300. The application process, you're doing an application. Once you are awarded a seat, then those documents, we will request those documents. And sometimes we know that your child may be a little bit, a lot of times doctors don't like to give that or do those medical checkups until they are actually 4. And so if their age is a little bit early, you still can provide documentation from the doctor with a date to show when you can return to receive that information. And we will accept that as part of your enrollment for registration once you are awarded a seat.
Thank you, Doc. I came across a question. Is there after-school care for pre-K 3 and 4 students? That is a question that each building level leader will be able to answer for you upon you receiving a seat via the lottery. So please follow up with your building level leaders to get that question answered. Because all schools don't have after-school, but I do know certain schools do partner with neighborhood daycares to transport students to their facilities until their parents are able to get off work to pick them up. Miss Erica or Miss Rose. My understanding is that for twins, the lottery results are not tied. So one could get in and one could get out. Is that correct?
Yes, so with twins, technically, our lottery is truly a randomized lottery with no preferences whatsoever. So when the lottery runs, and you have twins or triplets, and you're applying for a classroom that has 20 seats, and your first sibling gets seat 20, that means the second sibling would go number seat 21, and since we don't have a seat 21, that would be first on the wait list. So technically, yes, your siblings, your twins could technically, one could get in and would not. At that point, you would have to make a decision with the school to say, yes, I want the one twin to go, and I'm going to just wait until an opening happens, or decide to decline because you want them both to go, and that's your decision too. Ms. Nelson, do you have anything to add to that?
No, ma'am, you did an excellent job of explaining it.
Let me see. I'm sorry, Ms. Rose, you did such a great job. I'm gonna pivot this question to you as well. My child is 5 and in pre-K. Does this program go for him too?
So according to Bright from the Start, if your child is 5 and has not attended pre-K, they can repeat pre-K, but that is not the case with DeKalb County Public Schools. So if you have a child who's 5 and has not attended pre-K, you are more than welcome to go to the Bright from the Start programs in the private sectors. With DeKalb County, we will allow a 5-year-old to come to pre-K only if they have an individualized educational plan, what we call an IEP, and the IEP specifically states this child needs to repeat pre-K. And then that is the only exception.
So there is a question in here regarding Babies Can't Wait and IEP. It says, my son will be 3 in April. However, my kid is registered in Babies Can't Wait, and they say that they will recommend school with IEP. Can I also register? So yes, still go ahead and do the application. There is a question in there that asks, is your child part of Baby Can't Wait? Does your child have an IEP? So if answering yes to those questions, we will then contact our diagnostic center and our exceptional education department regarding placement.
So I think we have time for about 4 more questions, team. So I'll take the first one. Do pre-K 3 and 4 students operate on the same general calendar within the district? Yes, all programs within the district operate from the same instructional calendar that is posted on the district website each year. Let me see. Does Robert Shaw Theme School have a pre-K 3 program? The answer to that question is no.
Okay, it's an I'm a DeKalb County employee. In order to register my child for pre-K for the 25-26 school year, would I log into Infinite Campus using my teacher login to register, or do I need to create a separate parent login for Infinite Campus? So to complete an application, I would say no. I would have to yield to Ms. Irvin when it comes to registering if your child is awarded a seat.
Okay, Erica, ask the question one more time. I was typing a response in the chat, so
Yes,
I
ma'am.
missed it. I was over here burning up this keyboard, okay?
No worries. It says, I am a DeKalb County employee. In order to register my child for pre-K 4 for the 25-26 school year, would I log into Infinite Campus using my teacher login to register, or do I need to create a separate parent account for Infinite Campus?
You would create a parent portal account for that, right? Because your teacher identity in Infinite Campus versus your parent identity in Infinite Campus are different. So you would need to, if you don't already have a parent portal account, don't do it at this stage, right? Go ahead and complete the registration application by going to the district's webpage. And on the district's webpage, you'll be able to register your student that way. Once your student, after you get accepted the seat, and once your student is registered and enrolled, at that point, you can create your parent portal account. So the parent portal account, if you don't have one and you don't have a student registered, comes after you get your student registered and enrolled.
Thank you, Ms. Irvin, Ms. Ness. Thank everybody on the team as well. The time now is 7 o'clock, so I want to take this opportunity to thank all of our 775 members within the community who did join us within this virtual setting. Thank you for attending this actual first session that we're offering as a department within the Division of Student Services. I hope we were able to enhance your journey within the virtual platform as it relates to your experience that will be taking place soon. If you have any additional questions, please screenshot the actual web address at the bottom of the actual screen to ensure that we're able to follow up with you in real time. As stated before, if you pre-register, you will receive a copy of the actual presentation and a recording. And as me and the team work through the last remaining questions that we did not answer, we will send you the FAQ as well once we're able to answer all of the remaining questions. Thank you again for joining us in the virtual setting. Everybody take care